Hi, this is Pam with ROC Metaphysical. Hopefully you've seen some of the other videos, but just in case, ROC Metaphysical, it's all one word, .com is a metaphysical online magazine. I'm one of just a small number so far, and I have articles written once a month, the first of each month, and they're written by people from all over about all kinds of spiritual, metaphysical, and alternative health topics. And what's great is it's free for you to read. And the people that provide the articles also are not paid because they feel so strongly about the information they're providing. So I think that's great. And hopefully more people will be seeing this video and going to the website. And you'll also see it down below in case you don't remember the full title. So we're interviewing an author today. We're going to be highlighting her book in July, and I have Christi. It's Hoffman.
Clemons Hoffman.
Okay. So she has a really great background. I'm interested in the hypnosis piece, but there's a lot more to her. So if you want to talk about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So an easy way to remember is readings, Reiki, and regression, because I do a lot of things. So I'm trained in the Akashic Records. I'm an animal communicator. I'm a medical intuitive. I talk with angels and loved ones if your loved ones want to talk to me. So I do readings of all kinds. I'm also a Reiki master in Usui and Holy Fire traditions. And the medical intuitive piece really comes in handy there. And then I do hypnosis. So mostly regressive hypnosis, QHHT, and introspective. And I also do clinical hypnosis, and I'm board certified in clinical hypnosis. And then
Well,
I've got
oh,
yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry, I butt in.
Oh, no. I was just kind of trailing off, but I also have 2 podcasts and then this new book.
Right. Well, that's a great background. So I love the fact that you have all these things that kind of tie in together
Mm-hmm.
so that you can provide a wide range of help to people. And so are you clairaudient? Do you have,
Mostly Claire, cognizant and buoyant, but also audience and sentience.
okay.
Yeah.
So you can speak to people of past if they want to come forward for somebody. Reiki's great. I have my Reiki master. Um, I haven't gone any further, but hopefully when I'm retired, I will. And having the clinical hypnosis, I know you're required for like hundreds of hours. Is at least 100 or more hours because I have friends that are hypnotherapists and they're board certified. So with that, you just then decided to write a book. So what made you want to write the book?
Well, real life angel encounters, true stories or real stories of real people who've had miraculous encounters. This is based on the podcast of the same name. And I started the podcast during the pandemic. The podcast is about real people like you and me who have miraculous encounters that happen to them. They could be visits from loved ones, they could be visits from winged angels. There are a few of those stories in the podcast, not in the book, but there are stories of chance encounters. A kind stranger shows up at the right moment. Um, Things appear to us in the night. We're saved by angels at the last moment. There's all kinds of stories running the gamut in the book. So you'll have to read the book to find out all the different types of things that come together. Oh, there's even a benevolent alien story in there. So it's a little bit of everything. It's not strictly winged angels.
Well, I mean, it's basically, if you want to say the planet's open,
Yeah.
anybody could come to visit. So what about the benevolent alien? I mean, you kind of piqued my interest on that one.
I know, right? So the caller had told the story of when she was little, her mom always alluded there was something curious to her birth. Well, it turns out it was about her conception, that the mom had been visited by some beings after she and the dad had just finished um
Making love?
yes, thank you. And trying to be kind of neutral. But so they had just finished making love, and these aliens showed up, and the mom thinks that that was the night that this caller was conceived, and was telling her daughter this story as a kid. And the daughter's like, I don't need to know this.
Oh,
But she had been visited by aliens and different beings throughout her life. And then she finally had a hypnosis session herself to regress back to that time when she was conceived. And she confirmed it. And she had received messages from these benevolent aliens. And they all, in fact, she had found Real Life Angel Encounters, the podcast, because she was looking for a podcast. And she was trying to find something similar to what she had experienced, but there was nothing about real life alien encounters. And she thought, well, what if I typed in angels? And that showed up. And then these aliens even said, well, we're all aliens somewhere. That's the name of her story. We're all aliens somewhere. And this is so true. I mean, I think it doesn't matter what we call these beings. I think that they all kind of respond to our intention and our vibration and our need at the time. So I don't think they mind us calling them aliens or angels or loved ones or what have you.
well, I mean, I think we use that because we assume they may not, they might look scary. So it has a negative connotation, but we look like this. Why can't beings from other places look similar or
Right.
altogether different? I mean, I love Star Wars and Star Trek and all the different types of beings or humanoids or whatever you want to call them. I think it makes it more interesting. So
It
I know
does.
I went through the book. I like actually I read that one and I thought that was very interesting. And then there was the one about the woman that started having female problems and had to go to the bathroom to try to figure out what was going on. And then I'll let you take over.
Oh, I love that story. Angel in overalls. So the caller had gone on vacation with her husband and their son, and she was on a mission to find some denim bib overalls like she used to have in the 70s, the farmer type of overalls. And she struck out on finding them. So they were coming back from vacation. And the overalls are important. So they were coming back from vacation. The husband likes to leave at dark 30. It's the middle of, well, not the middle of the night. It's like 4:30 in the morning. And they leave from their vacation place and they're going back home to Missouri. And she notices that she's having some sort of female crisis. So she had gotten her period and something didn't feel right. And as women, we know kind of what that is. And she just said it didn't feel right. So they got stopped to get gas. And again, it was still dark. She goes into the bathroom to try to sort herself out. And there's just blood everywhere and like flowed onto the floor. There was something definitely wrong with her. Now, when she went into the bathroom, there were two stalls and the doors were open. And she noticed there was nobody in there, but it was very clean. And she was thankful for that. So she goes in, she gets herself sorted out, and then she hears this voice. Are you okay in there? A woman's voice. And she thought, well, how did I miss somebody coming in? I was sure there was nobody in here. She says, yeah, I'm having kind of an issue, but I'm going to get myself sorted out. I'm going to run out to my car and get more clothes and some supplies, and I'll be back and I'll clean up this mess. And the other woman said, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of that. And the caller was thinking, I work in a doctor's office. You do not touch other people's blood. That's just not safe. You need PPE. You need a mask and gloves and everything. She says, no, it's okay. It's all right. I'll take care of it. I'll be right back. Don't worry about it. And the woman said, I used to work in a women's dormitory, a girls' dormitory, and I've seen everything. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So the caller comes out of the bathroom stall and sees this woman there. And you read the story. She's tall, she's blonde, she's fit, she's got this great physique. She's got platinum blonde hair pulled up in braids and tied around her head. And she's got overalls on, the very type of overalls that she'd been looking for. Besides that, her skin was kind of this golden glowy color. Something striking about this woman. She's gorgeous, striking. And so the caller said, all right, I'll be right back, runs out to the car, grabs some clothes, comes back into the bathroom, and it's clean. She looks in the trash can. There's no bloody towels or anything. It is spotless. And the woman is gone. She gets herself sorted out, goes out into the convenience store portion of it. Her husband's there with 2 cups of coffee. And she said, "Where did that lady go?" He said, "What lady?" She said, "You must have seen a lady coming out of the bathroom. Where did she go?" And he says, "No, nobody came out of the bathroom." She asked the clerk, "Do you know who that was that went in the bathroom?" He said, "No, nobody's been in here except you guys." So something
Who
happened.
was it?
I know, right? Well, given her description, she's tall, she's glowing, she's, wearing this item of clothing that this woman was looking for. And she just was very striking looking. And you read the story. The woman thought, well, maybe she's a guardian angel over women who might be having a miscarriage. And she thought there was just something special and something striking about this lady. I personally think she's an angel that showed up in a form that the caller would understand and appreciate, and that wouldn't scare her.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, if somebody came, with the big wings and, on a gas station on the highway, you would be like, yeah, I don't know about this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And there are some instances in the podcast. There are none in the story.
Excuse me.
Bless you. There are none in the book of winged angels, but there are a few stories in the podcast of winged angels. But the angels in the book are just real life type of encounters. There's some near death experiences in here, and those are pretty special. But otherwise, it's the gamut of all the types of things that our angels can help us with. There's over 20 stories in there of various encounters and various synchronicities and miracles. It's really pretty fun. It's a fun read.
Well, just as a side note, my friends, I think it was either her mom or her grandma, and they went to visit her, and there was a helper that came in. So while the helper said, well, you just do whatever you have to do. And so they spent time, fussing over the woman, like they did her hair and they gave her lipstick and they put some nail polish on her and, they fluffed her up in bed. And all the time, this lady was like in the kitchen, just taking care of business. And, they got to enjoy the time with this older family member. And within days, this woman passed. And so when they went to find out, did they need to pay the caretaker? Nobody said there was a caretaker. There was no lady that was supposed to come in and kind of take care of the things in the kitchen and kind of tidy up and all that. And they just said we couldn't find any company that, would have sent somebody nobody knew. So the same kind of thing. They just think, this angel just showed up to give them the time to spend with this family member and allow them to have really great personal time. And that was a very similar story.
I love that
Yeah,
story.
isn't that good?
Oh, that's wonderful. And see, that person didn't show up with wings or a halo or robe.
No,
Hear that.
no,
And that's what strikes me about so many of these stories. They seem, fairly commonplace, but still extraordinary. Fairly, like realistic and yet miraculous,
right.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And you don't think about it until after. So you're not really going, oh, you're an angel, like you don't even know until after. And then you're like, oh my goodness, that
right.
was something special that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's purposeful. So you don't, like if you saw an angel and I would be like, oh my goodness, I would start asking lots of questions.
Exactly. I'd probably fall to my knees and, probably even poop my pants because that could be really scary.
Well, just knowing that someone showed up near me, in my house or when I'm out somewhere, I would just be, I guess the word is gobsmacked.
Gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and that's why I think they do show up to us in forms that we can appreciate it. There's one story in the book of Joseph. He's actually a friend of mine here in the Kansas City area. He's a wonderful medium in his own right. And when he was a child, he had a vision of an angel in his parents' room, in his parents' bedroom. He had woken up in the middle of the night, kind of sleep paralysis, with sleep paralysis. He was able to wiggle free and go to his parents' room. And he said he saw an angel like child sized, and they're usually ginormous, but perhaps that this angel showed up just child sized to assure him and make him not feel afraid. So I think they can show up in many different forms.
All right. So is there a story about an angel that they could identify as an angel?
In the podcast, there are now identify as an angel, maybe not with names or anything like that, but they looked like what we would think of as a Christmas card angel. So in the podcast, Aaron was a caller who was going through a really rough time and was at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, which is a beautiful art museum here in Kansas City. And she was just going to walk the grounds that are so beautiful. And she was just so upset. And she felt two angels come up behind her and just kind of hold her under the elbow and help her walk. And it's like she couldn't get a full view of them, but just kind of turning and getting glimpses of them. They were tall and they had the wings and everything. There's another story of a woman named Kathy, and I want to say she's in Iowa or Illinois or something. And she was in her kitchen making tuna fish sandwiches, and three angels showed up in her kitchen with wings and all to tell her to not be afraid, that she was going to have strength when she needed it. She thought it was about her son had passed. He had passed of an overdose. She thought it was about that, but no, they were coming to tell her that she didn't know it at the time, but when her husband passed, she knew that they were there for her to say, you're going to be okay. You'll have the strength when you need it.
Wow, that's pretty nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, to know that somebody's keeping an eye on you, I mean, if we have faith, but sometimes, you can struggle with that and realize that, there's higher level beings that are keeping an eye out on you when, you need it, and you sometimes think, nobody's listening.
Oh no, we're never alone. They're with us all the time. And I am on a world mission here to let everybody know they're not alone. You have your team with you all the time. You don't ever have to make a decision alone. You don't ever have to go through anything frightening or overwhelming alone. We're always, always surrounded by love.
And I know in the book, I think you list out all the different angels that are probably in the Bible or referenced in ancient literature. So that's kind of helpful to know if you need assistance with something very specific, you can talk to one of them and get help. Like I've had times when I've asked Archangel Michael to watch over me when I'm in bed at night, because there's been some crazy things that have happened in my house.
Oh, that.
So, and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm okay, but it's nice to know you got backup. Yeah. That's how I feel about him, is he's got the shield and the sword. I mean, I actually had I think it's the fellow that lived here before me, and he didn't pass here, but he was 90 something when he moved out. So I think it was him. He would come and kind of knock things around a little bit. And I'm just like, yeah, when I'm not here, have at it. But not when I'm home and sleeping. I cherish my sleep, and I hate being woken up in the middle of the night. And so I just said that Archangel Michael will not be very happy with you being mischievous. Would you please stop? Or he's going to kick your butt.
And I'm assuming that it stopped.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Yep.
Yes. Yes. We usually, that usually stops any activity that we don't like when we ask. Sometimes we do have to ask a couple of times, but they're supposed to stop when we ask them to.
Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
he can hang around. I mean,
Yeah.
but
That's
just don't wake me up in the middle of the night.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little unsettling. So
Right.
Michael will watch over you when you're asleep. He will protect your home. I mean, he's pretty much an all-purpose angel, but his main job, like I say in the book, is protection and um yeah, mostly just protection, like for soldiers and policemen, but even for any of us who need a little bit of protection, a little strength.
Right. And angels can be everywhere all the time. And that's like something very interesting to me. And maybe that's quantum physics beyond, to think, oh, they can be here and a million other places. But
Think about all the people talking to Jesus at any one time, all of the people talking to Kuan Yin or Buddha at any one time. They can be everywhere at once. I did a reading for a client years ago. She was missing her mother who had died, within maybe that 6 months. And the mother came through loud and clear. She was so present. And she said, "This is great. I can be with my daughter in Shawnee, Kansas. I can be with my other daughter in Washington, D.C., and I can be with my family in Mexico all at the same time." I thought that was a beautiful way to put that. That, yeah, she's only a thought away anywhere.
right. That's
Mhm.
nice to know.
It's nice.
So what's another good story that you have in the book?
So many good stories in the book. Well, there's a couple of near-death experiences. Ooh, ooh. There's also some angels in the news. I'll stick with the near-death experiences, though. So there's the story of Susan Walter, who's a friend of mine, actually, in the Kansas City area. She had two near-death experiences when she was little, one at age 4 and one at age 6. And she describes at least one of them in the book. I think the first one, that as a child, seeing things that she would understand and appreciate. She grew up in rural Iowa, I think it was, and lots of farm animals around. And so in her near-death experience, she went to a place where there were mice and cats and dogs and horses and all of these animals. And there were people gathered under a tree, and that was her place, where all of her people were. And then there were other trees that had other people, and it was like a homecoming, but every tree represented somebody who was going to the other side. And she, was friends with all these animals and just felt so much love. And then she became unpopular in Sunday school because she started asking a lot of questions, because she'd had this near-death experience and knew that some of the things that she was being taught in Sunday school were not quite accurate. And then fast forward, she was seeing people's angels around them as, in the years after these near-death experiences. She saw her own angels, of course, but then she started seeing angels around other people. And then as an adult, they started telling her, "You need to paint us." In fact, her story is called "I Don't Know How to Paint." They were saying, "You need to paint us." And she said, "I don't know how. I'm not an artist." And they said, "That's a detail. We'll figure it out." And so she started painting the angels that she saw. She started with, I think it was, she said it was watercolors, and realized really quickly, no, that's too hard. Now she uses mostly pastels and acrylics. And she's won awards now. She's been doing this a number of years. She's won awards for her cover designs for new age books and metaphysical books
Oh,
and card decks. And then she's got stickers and coasters and coloring books. I love her coloring books because she works with mandalas for the coloring books. And she will I'm not sure how she does this, but she creates mandalas based on solfeggio frequencies.
wow.
And they're really cool. In fact, it was a reading that I gave to her when we first met years ago. And I said, "I don't know what a solfeggio is, but your angels want you to work with it." And she goes, "Yeah, they just started talking to me about that." And so now she does these solfeggio prints. They're really cool. So her near-death experience was very, very, I mean, it's like it keeps unfolding, right? The gifts that she achieved after her near-death experiences, she's still got this going on. And there's the story of David Ditchfield in the book as well. David Ditchfield was very famously pulled under a train in England and drug under a train, almost severed his left arm, had his near-death experience, and he met three angelic beings on the other side who healed his body.
Wow.
His story is so beautiful. Just all of the things that have happened for him and to him after his near-death experience. He came out of it painting. Again, somebody who didn't know how to paint, but he was going to paint the angels he saw. He wrote a symphony. He had never done anything like that before. He maybe knew 3 chords and that was it before his near-death experience, but he wrote a symphony and it was actually performed. It's beautiful. And he's since written another symphony. So
Wow.
these experiences can truly, truly change us.
Right. I mean, we assume that it's if people are unaware, and there is a lot of books about near-death experience and what happens. So, uh, was it Eben was
Evan
the
Alexander.
right
Yeah.
has written one book about it, which made it pretty easy because he's the one that was a medical doctor who had a near death and then explained it and then has since gone on to help people understand it. So I would highly recommend people to read that so they understand that it might be spooky and you're not quite sure, but then when you get there, you're like, ooh, this is great. And then sometimes you stay and sometimes they say, go back. And then
Yeah.
there's wonderful things that usually happen when you return. So,
Dr. Alexander was an atheist before his experience, and now he's not.
oh,
He's not. He's been on my Radiate Wellness podcast.
oh, all right. Yeah, I saw him. I don't know if he was on Oprah or some program that I watched him. And then I got his book because I just thought he made it sound so beautiful, because we wonder, when we leave this earth, what happens, you know? And
Yeah.
a lot of people just think we just, yeah, that's it. There's nothing. And how anticlimactic, it's like it would be nice to, be able to go on to something and have more fun than we're having right now, like floating, not having to, use a mode of transportation and yeah.
Right. All learning, all knowledge is right there for you. There's an endless amount of love available to you, loved ones. It's beautiful. Well, speaking of the near-death experience, Dr. Raymond Moody, who was the first researcher of the near-death experience and who wrote the first book about it, he endorsed real-life angel encounters.
Yeah, I saw that, some of the names you had in the beginning there, and I was like, wow, look at that.
Some really great names. Dr. Moody, Jim Harold, David Ditchfield wrote a review and he endorsed it as well. Susan Walter, who's the one who had the other near-death experience I told you about. So got some really wonderful people who've embraced this book because I think we need it now. I think we need to know that angels are around us. We need to be talking about these different experiences and not discount them. So many times people will say, well, I've never had an angel experience, but there was this one time something did happen, right? And we're ready to dismiss these things. Oh, it's a coincidence. Oh, it's wishful thinking. Oh, it's, I don't know. We'll explain these things away. But just realizing what if that was a visit from a loved one? What if that was a visit from an angel? What if that was divinely orchestrated?
Well, that's when like synchronicity.
Yeah.
So when something happens that you didn't expect, and hopefully it's a good outcome,
Mm-hmm.
so you're like, wow, this thing happened and I wasn't expecting it. And, this wonderful thing happened, was there maybe an angel involved or, visible, invisible, or, just kind of set the magic for that thing to happen. And
Right.
And then,
And that's just it. We think, oh, well, this couldn't have been an angel story because it didn't look like an angel. But they are pure positive energy. And they can manipulate things energetically so that we're in the right place at the right time. Somebody else might be in the right place at the right time. And then we can have this synchronicity.
right.
So, right, was it an angel appearing before me? No, but it was somebody who is sent, maybe an emissary. There is a story in the book of I was going through a rough patch and I was driving on the highway. I was crying really hard. It was a kind of a difficult point in my life. And I get to this intersection in Kansas City. It's 71 Highway and Emmanuel Cleaver the Second Boulevard. And there's usually a homeless person standing on the corner there panhandling. And I get to the stoplight and I'm thinking, oh, and I saw this gentleman and I thought, oh, I don't want to make eye contact. I don't have any cash on me, but he's going to see that I've been so upset. And I was just didn't want to deal with that. But, sometimes you just can't look away. And I happened to catch his eye and he could see that I was visibly upset. And he just looked at me and he just kind of nodded and he took his fist and kind of tapped it on his chest and nodded lovingly and pointed up to the sky and just letting me know that God's with you. It's going to be okay. And I knew in that moment it was Archangel Michael. Did it look like Archangel Michael? No, he's a skinny little black dude. And no, he didn't look at all like Archangel Michael, but I knew if it wasn't Archangel Michael, then at least Michael sent him.
Right.
Confused.
So don't discount anything that may happen. So that should be one of the takeaways from this, along with all your great stories. So show us the book again so we can see the book.
Real life angel encounters, real people share real stories of miraculous encounters. It's available for pre-order. I don't know when this is going live, this interview.
July 1st.
Oh, well, the day that this book drops in the United States. Yep, in the US. It drops tomorrow. We're recording this June 23rd. It drops tomorrow in the UK, but yeah, so it drops then. And you can find this book wherever you get your books, any place online that sells books. And also my website, radiatewellnesscommunity.com, on the shop tab. I've got the book there as well for purchase.
Okay. And what is your podcast? You have what, one or two?
Two podcasts. One is Real Life Angel Encounters. And then the other one is Radiate Wellness. And on that podcast, I've had Dr. Raymond Moody. I've had Dr. Evan Alexander. I've had David Ditchfield and Susan Walter, the two near-death experiencers. I've had a bunch of people that we would all know. Jim Harold as well. And Jim Harold's been he's in the next episode of Real Life Angel Encounters. So he's a very well-known podcaster too. So I'm just thrilled to death with having this book out in the world. And I think that it's something that we can all turn to again and again and again for hope and insight, and just to know that we're not alone.
Right. I think especially now, I mean, with all the ups and downs of our own lives and the greater picture, sometimes it's just nice to take the book out and read a chapter, or, take the time to kind of reaffirm that there's goodness and wonderful beings that are out there trying to, help us out whenever. And I know one of the things that you probably know is just ask.
Just ask.
Right.
We have, like I said in the book, that, that our angels cannot interfere with us. We have free will. We have to have free will because this is a free will planet. They want to help us, but we have to ask.
All right. So make sure you ask and look at all the list of all the different angels on there.
Yes.
In her book. So if there's something very specific, then, you'll get the right one, but I'm sure any of them would be like, oh, I'll take care of that.
They don't get too hung up on what their job description is.
Right.
So it's all good. Yeah. Chapter 7 is all about all of the different types of angels And then chapter 8 is working with your angelic team and how to do that.
Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to tell us?
Just that, the book is available for ordering online. If it's not in your bookstore, ask them to carry it in your bookstore. I would also maybe quickly like to promote, I'm in a documentary series called Journeys into the Soul.
Ooh.
Season 1 is already on Gaia, and season 2 should be on Gaia pretty soon, but it's available to stream at journeysintothesoul.com, and it's all about spiritual hypnosis.
Ooh, that sounds very interesting. I'm going to have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm done asking questions, and I'm so happy that we got to talk today. I know the sun's getting in my eyes here. I like
Yes.
sun. So we're going to tie it up. Thank you. Make sure you, all my viewers and readers out there, on the magazine itself, will have a copy of the book and where you can get your book and that kind of thing. So,
Thank you so much for having me, Pam. It's been delightful.
all right. And thank you very much. Hopefully we'll run into each other sometime.
I hope so too.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.